The thing about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive is that by now you've heard a lot of ads about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. We probably don't even need the words, the Name Your Price tool, to tell you that our Humpback Whale Pup gives you options based on your budget, or that our novelty hand buzzer helps you save on car insurance. And that's the thing about the tiny felt bag filled with marbles. At this point, you've heard a lot of ads about the elusive northern bobcat. The Name Your Price tool, the neighbor who baked you banana bread, only from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
It's the new year and you're looking to get a new car. Then head to Toyota's We Make It Easy sales event to find incredible deals on many of Toyota's most popular models, like Camry, Camry Hybrid, Corolla, Corolla Hybrid, Prius, Prius Prime, and even Highlander Hybrid. You'll find great ways to save with low payment leases and low APRs, not to mention huge cashback offers. So see your Toyota dealer today. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 269. We're going to hop over the pond, folks, and check in on Prince Andrew, a.k.a. the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, and the news that's coming across today that Scotland Yard is prepared to assist the FBI in their investigation. This has to be devastating news for Andrew and his legal team. I am sure they were hoping that Scotland Yard would continue to run interference for them. But this is just another sign pointing towards the fact that the people who played a key role within Jeffrey Epstein's criminal enterprise are now all on the run. And that goes for all of them, folks, every single person that has been named in those documents as an abuser, especially, has had their lives turned upside down. And they should have their lives turned upside down, because what they're being accused of is just absolutely the bottom of the barrel kind of crime. Rape, violence against women, abusing children, trafficking children. I mean, how much more low and scummy does it get? So all of these people deserve the scrutiny that they're now finally getting decades later. This stuff happened a long time ago. Some of it in the 90s, if we're going all the way back to what happened with Maria. And nobody did anything. These people avoided scrutiny. They avoided any kind of attention from their buddies and their lapdogs in the legacy media. And now that the narrative has been turned around, and now that they are facing scrutiny, they are being aired out the same way they like to do to the accusers, right? This is their MO, just reversing it and using it on them. And they don't like it very much, do they? They're not very happy about it. Just take a look at the reaction that we have seen from Mr. Dirty Dersh, for example. This is a guy who is absolutely frazzled about what's going on, and he understands that things are getting very, very interesting. And somehow, I think, even though he's an absolute bumbling moron, that the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, he understands that things are getting very serious for him as well. Our article tonight is from the Daily Mail. The author is William Cole. Headline: Scotland Yard is willing to assist U.S. authorities investigating Prince Andrew's links to pedophile billionaire Jeffrey Epstein at any stage, Cressida Dick says. And I'm guessing Cressida Dick is the guy from Scotland Yard, the boss man Tweed over there in England. The chief of the Metropolitan Police, well, there you go, the chief, has offered to assist U.S. authorities with their investigation into Prince Andrew's ties to disgraced pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think this is why they filed the MLA, right? they wanted to do an end around on Buckingham Palace and go directly to the authorities to try and mitigate any kind of interference. At least that's my guess, right? You would think that's the strategy of the prosecutors in the United States, to try and pull an end around on the royals and take this right to the investigators. And it looks like their strategy might pay off here. Now, of course, again, I am always skeptical until things actually happen. But this most certainly is a step in the right direction and a break from the norm when we're talking about how things were proceeding within Scotland Yard. So this looks promising so far. Dame Cressida Dick said that while the focus of the investigation was clearly in America, she added that Met would assist U.S. authorities should it be required at any stage. That's the same thing Andrew said, and we see how that worked out. So again, I'm going to remain skeptical, but it is a step in the right direction, right, folks? We got to accept those W's wherever they come in cases like this, because for so long, the deck was stacked against the truth. The truth was being subverted by these powerful, rich, so-called members of polite society. And that is no longer the case. This has blown up to a level where they never expected. I mean, Netflix and Lifetime, and this one's writing a book, and that one's writing a book, and even knuckleheads like me, sitting in their studios and, their houses, whatever it may be. Everybody is focused on what's going on in this case this time around, and it is not going to go the same way it did last time. They're not going to be able to use the same playbook. During a wide-ranging interview with Channel 4 News, the commissioner was asked about the Duke of York's alleged involvement in the ongoing Maxwell case. The locus and focus of any investigation in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, for example, is clearly in America, she said. And I would say that that's pretty true at this point, right? There's a vast investigation in America that's unfolding right now. We know that for sure. We also know that there are other co-conspirators who better not rest easy. We know that these people are in the crosshairs. We know that the investigators are taking a look into all of these people who played a part, and we don't know, but we can speculate that Ghislaine Maxwell's probably getting pretty squirrely inside of that jail cell, and she's probably looking to do a little bit of negotiating. You see, she's not used to that life. She's not used to, the bologna sandwiches and the oranges. She's not used to any of that stuff. So it has to be weighing on her. And that's a strategy that these prosecutors use. They'll let these people twist in the wind, and they'll put them in these facilities where they're in solitary confinement, and they're at the point where they're ready to say anything to have at least just a little bit of normalization back in their life. And she's trying to make that move to get into GP, general population, and they're not going to allow it because they don't want any sort of normalization right now for her. They want her rattled, they want her frazzled, and that is exactly how these cases go. If the Americans need our assistance at any stage, then we will give them that. Federal prosecutors have reportedly been stonewalled in their requests for Prince Andrew's cooperation in the case, but the Duke's legal team says assistance was offered 3 times prior to allegations of zero cooperation. Well, they're not stating it here in the article, but the rub is he wanted to give a written statement. And a written statement's a bunch of BS in a situation such as this. If he was just accused of being one of Epstein's enablers, of just hanging around with Epstein, and maybe he saw something that was untowards, or something that could be maybe thought of as criminal, then a written statement might be acceptable, right? But there's a lot more here, and I've said it from the beginning. He's not a witness here, folks. He's a low-key target, a low-key suspect. And when I say low-key, I don't mean like low on the totem pole. I mean they're keeping it under wraps. They don't want information like that out there. So the prosecutors are moving in the shadows, they're moving in the shade, and they're doing things behind the scenes to make sure that people like this answer some questions. At least that is the way it looks. Since Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested, they have done a pretty good job, and you got to give them their props for the way they're going about things. And if we're hearing from the commissioner over in Scotland Yard that they're prepared to assist the United States investigators with the case, then you would have to think that there is a little bit more going on under the surface. Oh, we always try and read between the lines here, right? What are they really saying? What is really going on? And that's what I try to do here in situations such as this. And usually when there's smoke, there's fire. Now, again, it all hinges on other arrests, right? If we start to see the Core 4 get arrested, we start to see some of the people who were a huge part of the actual trafficking ring start getting nailed, then you know that this thing is ready to bloom. And I believe that we're going to get to that point sometime. When we will get there, I am not sure. But after the next arrest is announced in this case, I expect the floodgates to open. If the Duke fails to respond voluntarily to requests, he could be called to a UK court to answer questions in what is known as a mutual legal assistance request, according to the Daily Telegraph. And yeah, so he'd have to come in. He could be compelled to come in under the MLA, and he would have to answer questions. Now again, I don't know if that they can compel him to answer live questions where they can basically walk him into a trap of perjury if that's their goal, or if it would be written answers to these questions. Because again, I do not think for 1 second, not for 1 second, that this guy is going to do this on his own. I think he's going to have to be compelled, and I don't really think that the prosecutors are going to go for a written statement here. Now, they might go for a written statement if that's all they can get after all is said and done, but that would be straight garbage in my opinion, considering that he is not just accused of being an enabler. He is directly implicated in Jeffrey Epstein's dastardly, draconian sex trafficking ring. Epstein died in an apparent suicide last August before he was due to face trial on sex trafficking and conspiracy charges. His confidant and co-conspirator, fellow child abuser, general all-around scumbag, and reported lover Ghislaine Maxwell is in custody in New York's Metropolitan Detention Center, charged with enticement of minors, sex trafficking, and perjury during her time with the billionaire. They keep calling him the billionaire. How about pedophile, right? And again, I'm sure he is a billionaire. I mean, we have, 640 million roughly on the books? So we're talking a measly 360 million more stashed somewhere. Quite possible. Very possible. In fact, I'll go out on a limb and I'll say he does have billions. Where that money is, well, that's anybody's guess. She denies any wrongdoing. One of Epstein's survivors, Virginia Roberts, who claims she was trafficked by the financier, pedophile, and Maxwell, alleges Andrew had sex with her on 3 separate occasions, including when she was 17, still a minor under U.S. law. The Duke categorically denies he had any form of sexual contact or relationship with Miss Roberts, which is a lie. Any sort of relationship? Well, you obviously, at the very least, had a passing relationship. You took a picture with her at Ghislaine Maxwell's condo. What were you all doing there, huh? I'm sure you guys all went over there to watch some TV, maybe play some Jenga or a game of Monopoly, right? That's exactly what the purpose was. You disgusting, depraved SOBs. In a statement last year before Miss Maxwell's arrest, Commander Alex Murray said the Met was not the appropriate authority to look into the case because the allegations of human trafficking had taken place outside the UK. I never understood that, and I still don't understand that line of thinking. She was brought over international lines, not just state lines, but international lines into England. So how is that not the responsibility of the Scotland Yard or the Home Office? You would think that someone being trafficked from the United States to England would be a pretty big deal. Something that the Home Office would probably want to get involved in. I mean, it would make sense, right? Where's Interpol? This is an international crime now. All of this stuff, these girls that were brought to the United States from parts of Europe by Jean-Luc Brunel and God knows who else, that's not an Interpol case? You would think that every jurisdiction that these knuckleheads came through, every single place that these disgusting animals set up shop, would have an investigation going. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And folks, I don't have the answer. I don't know why that's not going on. Just like I don't know why there's not a state investigation going on in New Mexico. I do not have that answer. The statement said, following the legal advice, it was clear that any investigation into human trafficking would be largely focused on activities and relationships outside the UK. Well, that's because you're not looking for them in the UK. You mean to tell me that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, who were big shots not only in America, but they were big shots in London as well, were not over there engaged in abusing young girls? They didn't have young girls coming over for massages anywhere? I find that hard to believe, folks. A guy like Jeffrey Epstein doesn't just put his disgusting proclivities or his blackmail operation on pause because he's on vacation. People like this don't take vacation. Every minute, every day is spent thinking about how they're going to increase their power, enrich their wealth, and collect more information on people in powerful positions. That's how these people spent their lives, every day of their lives. We therefore concluded that the MPS was not the appropriate authority to conduct inquiries in these circumstances, and in November 2016, a decision was made that this matter would not proceed to a full criminal investigation. So that was pretty disheartening when that all came out, right? You would think, again, that London would be all over a case like this, especially considering what is being alleged occurred at Ghislaine Maxwell's London house. This occurred in England, okay? And according to Virginia, not only did it occur in England, it was one of the royals, for God's sakes. This should be the type of thing that makes the law enforcement people of whatever country it occurs in, makes them so mad and so angry that they will go to no lengths to bring people to justice. And I would like to see more of that hard charging going on in places like England, and most assuredly in a place like France. In August 2019, following the death of Jeffrey Epstein, the MPS reviewed the decision-making, and our position remains unchanged. The interview with Dame Cressida was due to be aired at 7 p.m. on Channel 4. So it looks like their tune has changed, right? As this new evidence unfolds, Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison, and who knows what information the FBI has already shared with the Home Office. Let's not forget about how close the ties are between the intelligence agencies in the United States and the UK. And that goes for the FBI and the Home Office as well. These people have very, very close working relationships. So I can only imagine what the FBI has said to the Home Office in regards to the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family's role within Jeffrey Epstein's criminal enterprise and his alleged abuse of Virginia. So you have to think things are moving behind the scenes. Wheels are turning. Fires are being stoked. And each and every single day that goes by, it becomes more and more apparent that these people who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein have now taken the role of those who are scared, of those who go to sleep every single night and worry. Because the year 2020, folks, this was the year that these predators, that they all became the prey. And we see it day in and day out now. Everybody involved with Epstein, that was close to him, that was implicated in this abuse, is starting to feel real heat. They're starting to understand what it's like to face real scrutiny. And I, for one, cannot wait for all of these other documents to start to be released as well, That way, the heat gets turned up even hotter. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. The link that goes with this article can be found in the description box. All right, everybody, I'll be back tomorrow, and we will rock and roll all over again. I hope you all have a great night.
You heard you could save big when you bundle home and auto with Progressive, so you went online to check it out. But then you saw a link for a survey about which type of bread you are. And now you're on question 17, barely scratching the surface of your bread identity. You always thought of yourself as a brioche, but are you actually more of a pumpernickel? Ah, yes. They said it was easy to save money bundling with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's.